Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
To remove the hubcap, these things that look like lug nuts are actually little plastic caps, and they screw onto the real lug nuts, and that's what holds the hubcap on. So we're going to take our 21mm socket, just loosen them by hand. They shouldn't be on there too tight. If you have to, you could use a small ratchet, but these ones are coming free with my hand. So you loosen these up, you should be able to pull the hubcap right off. With the vehicle still on the ground, we'll take our 21mm socket and a breaker bar and loosen all the lug nuts. With the lug nuts loosened, you can raise and support the vehicle with the jack and jack stands. We're going to use our 2-post lift. With the vehicle in the air, remove the rest of the lug nuts. They should be pretty loose. I can use my hand and remove the tire and wheel. I'm going to hold on to the wheel as I take the last lug nut off so it doesn't come falling off on me. Put these lug nuts aside. Take our wheel off. Rear caliper has the parking brake integrated into it, so I won't really be able to grab this and kind of compress the piston because it's basically threads out and it's part of your parking brake. These are 14mm caliper bolts. You need to remove those and take the caliper off. Using a 14mm box wrench. Get the bottom one broken free and break the top one free. Lift the caliper up and off. And I will hang this with a bungee cord from the spring just off to the side here so it doesn't dangle on the e-brake cable or the brake hose. You can use a small pry bar or a large flat-bladed screwdriver and pop the pads out. There are 2 bolts holding the caliper bracket on, one here and one here. They're 14mm. I'm going to use a 14mm socket and a breaker bar to loosen those. Probably in there pretty tight. Since that's so tight, I'm going to use a dead blow mallet to hit this. Those freed up, I'm going to switch to a ratchet to make removal a little quicker. I'm going to hold on to the bracket as I remove the top one so the bracket doesn't fall. Pull the bracket out. And the rotor is so loose it's ready to come right off. If this rotor was frozen in place, you could spray some rust penetrant here around the hub, and you could thread some 8mm bolts in here evenly and push this off. Luckily for us, it came right off. So in our car here, unfortunately the dust shield has rusted away, so I just kind of took the bits that were left and pushed them out of the way so they don't touch the rotor. On this particular style of caliper, because the e-brake cable and parking brake is integrated into it, the piston is part of the adjuster, so it actually threads and locks so it can't go back all the way in, so that when you pull the e-brake inside the car or the parking brake, it pushes the piston out and locks the pads. There is a special tool for this. You can get them and it will help you spin this in, or you can use some needle nose pliers and very carefully, I'm going to turn this clockwise, and it's going to spin down and retract. It's probably going to take you longer using pliers, but it will work. If this doesn't want to spin in easily in a particular direction, sometimes the opposite side may be counterclockwise and vice versa. Just make sure that you're not forcing it. There should be, I'm just going to move the bungee cord out of the way. There should be a direction that this turns easily, and one direction it will not turn. So if it doesn't turn in one way, try the other way. So clean our caliper hardware. Little stainless steel brackets. Just clean them with a little brake parts cleaner and a wire brush. Repeat that for both sides. Install our new brake rotor. I'm going to put it on backwards first. So I can clean the outside of it with brake parts cleaner. And I'll flip it over. I'll actually take one of our lug nuts, hold it in place, and just spray it down with some brake parts cleaner. Reinstall the caliper bracket. Capture the top one first. And the bottom one. Tighten up the bracket bolts. Make sure those are nice and tight. Pads that we took out are in good shape. We just wanted to show you how to remove them. So we're just going to clean and reuse them. This would be the same if they were brand new pads. Just want to make sure that this surface is nice and clean with brake parts cleaner. We'll put a little bit of caliper grease on here and pop them in place. Push those clips over, pop those in place. There's these little locating tabs on the brake pads. Just like this on the outside one, there's one on the inside here. It needs to line up into one of these openings here. So I'm just gonna have to turn this just a little more. Get it to line up. It's basically vertical like that. Now when this sits down, it should sit right in place. Yeah, that lines up nice. And reinstall the bolts. And I'm just gonna tighten these up. Tighten up the bottom one. You remove the lug nut, reinstall the wheel. Reinstall the wheel. Do the same for the other side. You can tighten the lug nuts and torque them when the vehicle is on the ground. And then we're going to pump our brake pedal. The vehicle on the ground, tighten your lug nuts to spec. Go in the cross pattern. Going to line up the valve stem opening with the valve stem in the wheel. Should fit right in place. Take the 21 millimeter socket and just thread these on. Just do them hand tight because they're just plastic. You don't want to break them. To push the calipers back out, since we compress them, I'm going to gently press on the brake pedal. Don't mash it to the floor, just kind of gently press it, build up the pressure. And you'll feel it get harder as the brake caliper pistons move out to meet the pads. That feels good.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.